Think about it for a moment. What's the last thing on your mind before you drift off to sleep each night? Is it worries about bills, anxiety about tomorrow's meetings, or perhaps replaying that awkward conversation you had earlier in the day? Has this ever happened to you? Lying in bed with your mind racing through all the things you don't have or problems you can't solve? I'm about to share with you what might be the most overlooked secret to financial abundance, a powerful technique taught by Florence Scovel Shinn, one of the most influential spiritual teachers of the early 20th century. She discovered that the most potent time to pray for prosperity isn't during your morning routine or afternoon meditation. It's right before you go to sleep. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while others struggle despite working twice as hard? What if I told you the difference might not be what you're doing during your waking hours, but rather, what's happening in those final moments before you fall asleep? What makes nighttime prayer so extraordinarily powerful? Florence Scovel Shinn explained that this specific time creates a unique window where two worlds intersect. When you pray right before sleeping, you're not just communicating with the divine, you're simultaneously programming your subconscious mind, which governs 95% of your thoughts and behaviors. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Your conscious mind, the analytical, critical part that's always questioning and doubting, begins to quiet down as you prepare for sleep. This creates the perfect conditions for planting seeds directly into your subconscious without interference. It's like having direct access to the control room of your life while the guards are changing shifts. When you set these intentions right before sleep, something miraculous happens. While your body rests, spiritual forces are set in motion. The universe begins rearranging circumstances, connecting opportunities, and literally moving money in your direction. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover about this process might completely transform your financial reality. Think about it. This way, we spend approximately 1/3 of our lives sleeping. Most people view this as downtime, hours when nothing productive happens. But what if these hours could become your most powerful wealth-building time? What if while you're dreaming, the seeds of tomorrow's prosperity are being watered and nurtured? The ancient wisdom traditions have always known this secret. In sacred texts across cultures, there are references to the power of nighttime prayer and its ability to manifest by morning. What makes Florence Scovel Shinn's approach different is how she combined these ancient teachings with a practical understanding of how the mind works. I've seen this technique transform lives time and again, including my own, but I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we need to understand exactly why the moments before sleep hold such immense manifestation power and how you can harness this untapped potential starting tonight. Now, let me clarify something important. What I'm sharing with you isn't some trendy manifestation technique or magical thinking that's popular on social media these days. This is something far more profound, a spiritual technology that has been utilized for thousands of years by those who understand the deeper mechanics of our reality. Florence Scovel Shinn discovered that these principles were actually embedded in ancient Jewish wisdom, found in the Torah, the Talmud, and the mystical teachings of the Kabbalah. These sacred texts contain insights into how our consciousness interacts with the universe at different times of day, particularly during that twilight state between wakefulness and sleep. The ancient sages understood something that modern science is only beginning to validate. Our minds operate on different frequencies throughout the day, and the theta wave state we enter right before sleep creates a unique opportunity for transformation. It's during this time that the veil between our conscious and subconscious mind becomes thinner, allowing for direct imprinting of new patterns and beliefs. But here's the hidden truth that most people miss. This powerful window of opportunity isn't just about what you actively pray for or visualize. It's equally about what you're inadvertently focusing on. This is why I want you to take a moment for honest reflection right now. What typically occupies your mind in those final moments before you drift off to sleep? For most people, bedtime becomes an unconscious inventory of everything that went wrong during the day, everything they're worried about tomorrow, or a mental calculation of bills, debts, and financial pressures. Each of these thoughts is like planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious, a seed that will grow and manifest while you sleep. The revelation that changed my journey came when I realized that I had been unintentionally sabotaging my prosperity every single night. Every worry about an unpaid bill, every fear about not having enough, every anxiety about financial security, these weren't just passing thoughts. They were powerful programming statements being delivered directly to my subconscious at its most receptive state. This mindset shift doesn't require you to deny reality or pretend problems don't exist. Rather, it's about making a conscious decision about which reality you choose to feed with your attention during this crucial time. The impact of this single change ripples through every aspect of your life experience. Behind the scenes of your waking consciousness, your subconscious mind is constantly working to align your external circumstances with your internal beliefs. When you go to sleep focused on lack, scarcity, and problems, you're essentially instructing this powerful force to create more of the same. But when you deliberately shift your focus to abundance, gratitude, and divine provision, you initiate a completely different sequence of manifestation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by sharing with you a powerful biblical story that perfectly illustrates how this nighttime transformation works. This ancient wisdom shows us exactly how the pattern of evening prayer leads to morning manifestation, and why so many people miss this critical connection between their nighttime thoughts and their daytime reality. If you're resonating with what I've shared so far, write nighttime wisdom in the comments below. In my journey of studying these ancient prosperity principles, I've discovered that there's something extraordinarily powerful about shared wisdom. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this profoundly. She wasn't content to simply practice these nighttime prosperity prayers in isolation. She recognized that these revelations were meant to be shared, to create ripples of transformation across generations and communities. Knowledge that isn't shared remains dormant, she would often say. Her vision extended far beyond her own financial success. She committed herself to a mission of reaching at least 50,000 people with these life-changing principles, a number that represented not just quantity, but the critical mass needed to create genuine cultural shift in how people approach prosperity. Think about the implications of this for a moment. When thousands of people begin reprogramming their subconscious minds each night, replacing worry with faith, lack with abundance, and fear with expectation, the collective impact becomes exponential. We're not just changing individual financial situations. We're actually shifting the energetic frequency of entire communities. This is precisely why I feel so strongly about creating this sacred space where these teachings can be preserved and expanded upon. The blueprint for abundance that was encoded in these ancient texts isn't meant to remain hidden or accessible only to scholars. It's practical, applicable wisdom that becomes more powerful the more it's shared and implemented. Behind the scenes of every great spiritual movement throughout history has been a core community of dedicated practitioners who didn't just passively consume wisdom. They actively engaged with it, applied it, and contributed to its evolution. The most profound revelations about prosperity have always emerged from these inner circles where the principles are not just studied, but lived with absolute conviction. If these prosperity principles have resonated with you, hit that subscribe button now to join our community of abundance seekers. I share these ancient manifestation secrets to help transform your financial reality. That's why Florence Scovel Shinn always emphasized the importance of surrounding yourself with others on the same path. When you connect with a community that's aligned with these prosperity principles, your own practice becomes more consistent, your insights deeper, and your manifestations more powerful. There's a mysterious amplification that happens when kindred spirits unite around these timeless truths. The ancient sages would create special study groups where advanced teachings were shared, not because they wanted to be exclusive, but because they understood that certain revelations only make sense when you've established the fundamental practices in your daily life. The deeper dimensions of nighttime prosperity prayer reveal themselves gradually as you progress on this journey. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by sharing with you one of the most powerful biblical examples of how nighttime prayer transformed someone from a state of complete destitution to extraordinary abundance. This story perfectly illustrates the mechanics of how your consciousness during sleep directly impacts the opportunities that appear in your waking life. If you're committed to mastering these nighttime prosperity principles, type ancient wisdom in the comments below. Let me share with you one of the most profound examples of nighttime transformation from the book of Genesis, a story that beautifully illustrates the principle we've been exploring. It centers on Jacob, a man who found himself in perhaps the lowest moment of his life, a perfect case study in how nighttime consciousness can completely rewrite your financial destiny. Picture this scene. Jacob is literally running for his life. He's fleeing from his brother Esau, who wants to kill him after Jacob deceptively took his birthright and blessing. The backstory reveals a complex family drama, but what's crucial for our understanding is Jacob's actual situation in this moment. He has absolutely nothing, no money, no home, no security. He's a man in complete crisis, facing an uncertain future with empty pockets and a heavy heart. As night falls, he finds himself in the middle of nowhere. There's no comfortable bed waiting for him, no roof over his head. In a striking image of rock-bottom circumstances, the Bible tells us he takes a stone and uses it as a pillow. Can you imagine being in such a desperate state? This is someone who has hit the absolute nadir of his journey, alone, afraid, and using a rock to rest his head upon. Now here comes the pivotal moment that Florence Scovel Shinn would have us recognize. What happens during Jacob's sleep completely rewrites his destiny. While sleeping on that uncomfortable stone pillow, Jacob experiences an extraordinary dream. He sees a ladder, often called Jacob's ladder in spiritual traditions, reaching from earth all the way to heaven. On this ladder are angels, ascending and descending between the realms. The revelation doesn't stop there. In this dream state, God himself appears to Jacob and makes an astonishing series of promises. I will give you this land. Your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. You will spread out to the west and east, to the north and south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go. This is the ultimate prosperity. Promise, land, descendants, expansion, influence, and divine protection. But here's the breakthrough insight. This cosmic download of abundance didn't happen during Jacob's waking hours when he was strategizing or working. It happened while he slept. The blueprint for his entire wealthy future was downloaded into his consciousness during his sleep state. The symbolism here is extraordinarily rich. The ladder represents the connection between our earthly consciousness and divine abundance. The angels moving up and down symbolize how our thoughts ascend to the spiritual realm and manifestations descend to the physical world, particularly during sleep. And most importantly, the stone pillow represents how even our hardest circumstances can become the foundation for receiving prosperity promises. Let me ask you, have you ever experienced a Jacob moment in your life? A time when you felt completely at rock bottom, only to receive an insight or opportunity while you slept that completely changed your trajectory? Type Jacob's ladder in the comments if you've ever experienced this phenomenon of nighttime revelation. What happens next in Jacob's story reveals the true power of this nighttime transformation. When Jacob awakens from this profound dream state, his very first words capture the essence of a spiritual breakthrough. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it. Then he makes an even more significant declaration, saying, "This is none other than the house of God. This is the gate of heaven." This revelation completely reframes his perception of reality. The barren wilderness that had seemed so threatening and empty the night before is now recognized as sacred ground, a portal to divine abundance. What changed? Not the physical location, not his external circumstances. What changed was Jacob's consciousness through the nighttime experience. Let's pause and absorb the profound paradigm shift that occurred here. Jacob went to sleep broke, scared, and alone. But while he was sleeping, a divine download was taking place. While his body rested, his future was being secured. While his eyes were closed to this world, a new reality was being encoded into his consciousness. And when he woke up, everything had changed. Not physically yet, but spiritually. His perception had been transformed. This is precisely what Florence Scovel Shinn discovered in her study of prosperity principles. The nighttime hours aren't just for physical rest. They're a sacred window when your spirit is most receptive to abundance codes. Just as Jacob's destiny of wealth was established while he slept, your financial breakthroughs are often set in motion during these quiet hours when your conscious resistance is suspended. What's particularly fascinating about Jacob's story is the sequence that follows. From that moment forward, Jacob's life takes on an unmistakable trajectory of increasing prosperity. He eventually becomes one of the wealthiest patriarchs in biblical history. His name is changed to Israel. He fathers 12 sons who become the tribes of Israel, and his descendants indeed become as numerous as the dust of the earth, as promised in his dream. But it all pivots on that singular night, that one moment when divine abundance was downloaded into his consciousness while he slept. The entire momentum of his destiny shifted because of what transpired in his nighttime hours. Now, I want to go even deeper into the mechanics of how this process works in your own life. What exactly is happening in your brain, your spirit, and your energetic field during sleep that makes this time so potent for prosperity programming? Understanding these dynamics will help you leverage this window of opportunity with greater precision and effectiveness. The ancient wisdom traditions have long recognized what modern neuroscience is now confirming: that during sleep, particularly in certain phases, your brain processes information differently. Your subconscious mind is more accessible, and your connection to higher frequencies of consciousness is more direct. This creates a unique opportunity for prosperity reprogramming that simply isn't available during your waking hours. If you've ever experienced a revelation or solution that seemed to arrive mysteriously after a good night's sleep, type "overnight wisdom" in the comments. Let me share with you what actually happens in this profound nighttime transition that makes it so powerful for prosperity activation. As you begin to drift towards sleep, a fascinating shift takes place in your cognitive architecture. Your analytical conscious mind, the part that doubts, questions, and often resists new possibilities, begins to power down. This is the mind that might say, "I can't afford that," or "that opportunity isn't for someone like me." As this skeptical gatekeeper quiets, something remarkable happens. Your subconscious mind takes center stage. And here's the hidden truth that changes everything. Your subconscious mind isn't just a passive storage unit for memories and beliefs. It's actually a direct channel to the spiritual realm. It functions as the bridge between your physical reality and divine intelligence. If you found value in today's teaching about nighttime prayer, press that like button. It helps spread this wisdom to others who might be struggling with the same prosperity blocks. This is why so many breakthrough inventions, scientific discoveries, and creative inspirations have come to people during or immediately after sleep. The subconscious doesn't recognize the limitations that the conscious mind insists upon. It connects to infinite possibilities, divine patterns, and abundance codes that exist beyond our three-dimensional perception. The ancient mystics understood this mechanism. They described the subconscious as a garden where whatever seeds are planted must eventually grow and bear fruit. The quality of what you harvest in your Waking life is directly determined by what you plant in this garden before sleep. This insight reveals why so many people unknowingly sabotage their prosperity. They're planting worry, fear, and lack in their most fertile soil. When you deliberately pray before sleep with the prosperity prayer that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered, you're essentially giving clear, positive instructions to your spirit. You're programming the frequency that your energy field will broadcast while you sleep. And, since the universe responds to these frequencies with matching experiences, what you focus on before sleep becomes the template for what you'll attract upon waking. Think of it as setting the GPS coordinates for your journey into abundance. If you fall asleep with your inner GPS set to scarcity, your subconscious navigates all night through territories of lack, drawing more of those experiences toward you. But when you set your prosperity coordinates through intentional prayer, your subconscious travels through realms of abundance all night long, magnetizing opportunities, ideas, and resources that match that frequency. This revelation transformed my own relationship with sleep. I began to see those moments before drifting off not as the end of my day, but as the most powerful beginning, the launching pad for the next day's manifestations. This mindset shift alone created a profound ripple effect throughout every aspect of my financial reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into how the ancient wisdom traditions describe this process. According to the Talmud, there's something extraordinary happening with your soul during sleep that modern science is only beginning to validate with brainwave studies and consciousness research. This ancient understanding of nighttime soul journeys reveals why the prayer you say before sleep carries such tremendous manifestation power. If you've started to recognize how your thoughts before sleep might be affecting your financial reality, type conscious creator in the comments. According to ancient Talmudic wisdom, something truly extraordinary happens during sleep that most modern people have completely forgotten. The sages teach us that every night when your body sleeps, your soul actually ascends to the heavenly realms. This isn't merely poetic language. It's a spiritual mechanism that operates regardless of whether you're consciously aware of it. During this soul ascension, you have direct access to divine instruction, heavenly guidance, and spiritual blessings that are being prepared specifically for you. But here's the profound insight that changes everything. The state of your soul, when it ascends, determines what it's able to receive during this nighttime journey. If your soul ascends carrying the heavy burdens of worry, fear, and doubt, it's like trying to fly with weights attached to your wings. Your soul simply can't reach the higher realms where abundance instructions are given. The spiritual bandwidth is blocked by the lower frequencies of anxiety and lack consciousness. This revelation illuminates why so many people experience what psychologists call the dark night of the soul during those pre-sleep moments. Instead of preparing their souls for sacred ascension, they're inadvertently programming limitation and scarcity into their spiritual GPS. The consequence is that their souls return from this nightly journey empty-handed, without the prosperity downloads they could have received. Florence Scovel Shinn's personal journey perfectly illustrates this hidden dynamic. Despite having what most would consider a decent income, she found herself constantly struggling financially, unable to break through to true abundance. Night after night, she would go to bed with her mind swirling with thoughts of all the things she didn't have, the bills she needed to pay, and the financial pressures weighing on her. The catalyst for her breakthrough came when she recognized the devastating pattern she had created. Each night, in those crucial moments before sleep, she was unwittingly sabotaging her prosperity by focusing on problems, lack, and limitation. This negative programming was being deeply embedded in her subconscious, and her soul was ascending with these heavy vibrations, unable to receive the abundance codes available in the higher realms. This insight represents a fundamental paradigm shift in our understanding of financial manifestation. Most conventional approaches focus exclusively on what you do during your waking hours: work ethic, strategic planning, investment decisions. But this ancient wisdom reveals that what happens during your sleep hours might actually be more determinative of your prosperity than your daytime activities. The night is not merely a time of physical restoration. It's a sacred portal for spiritual recalibration. Your soul literally travels between dimensions, gathering resources, guidance, and prosperity blueprints that will manifest in your waking reality. But this process requires intentional preparation. Just as you wouldn't embark on an important journey without packing the right supplies, you shouldn't send your soul on its nightly ascension without the proper spiritual preparation. Now, I want to go even deeper into the exact moment when everything changed for Florence Scovel Shinn, the specific Kabbalistic teaching she discovered that completely transformed her relationship with nighttime prosperity, programming, and rapidly shifted her financial reality in just a matter of weeks. If you're realizing how your own nighttime thoughts might have been affecting your prosperity journey, type Soul Ascension in the comments below. The pivotal breakthrough in Florence Scovel Shinn's journey came one evening while she was studying ancient Kabbalistic texts. She stumbled upon a teaching that would completely revolutionize her understanding of prosperity. The last thought you have before you sleep becomes the seed for tomorrow's reality. This single insight struck her with the force of lightning, a moment of profound awakening that would transform not just her financial situation, but her entire approach to consciousness. In that moment of clarity, she realized the devastating pattern she had been perpetuating. Night after night, she had been planting seeds of lack, limitation, and worry in the most fertile soil of her subconscious mind. Just as a farmer wouldn't expect to harvest abundance from seeds of weeds, she couldn't expect to manifest prosperity while planting thoughts of scarcity right before sleep. The revelation was both humbling and empowering. She had been the unwitting architect of her own financial struggles. This awareness catalyzed an immediate shift in her nighttime routine. Instead of ending her day focused on problems, bills, and worries, she created a simple yet powerful prosperity prayer to be the final thought in her consciousness before drifting to sleep. The transformation that followed defied conventional timelines of manifestation and revealed the extraordinary power of this spiritual technology. Within just 1 week of implementing this new practice, Florence received an unexpected phone call from someone she hadn't spoken to in over 2 years. This person proposed a business partnership that aligned perfectly with her skills and vision. The synchronicity was undeniable. It wasn't just a random opportunity, but precisely the type of collaboration she had been visualizing in her nighttime prayers. The momentum continued to build rapidly. By the end of the first month, her income had increased by 30% without any additional working hours or stress. The pathways to abundance seemed to open effortlessly, as though an invisible hand was rearranging circumstances in her favor. By the 3-month mark, she found herself in a completely different financial reality, with more resources flowing in than she had previously thought possible. What's particularly significant about this transformation journey is that Florence didn't change her external actions dramatically. She didn't suddenly work twice as many hours or implement some complex financial strategy. The profound shift occurred at the level of consciousness, specifically in those critical moments before sleep when the seed for tomorrow's manifestations is planted. This breakthrough illustrates a fundamental principle of consciousness. Transformation begins at the invisible level before it appears in visible form. Just as a seed must first germinate underground before the plant emerges visibly, prosperity must first be encoded in your consciousness before it manifests in your circumstances. And the most fertile soil for this encoding is the twilight state between wakefulness and sleep. Now, I want to go even deeper into the precise prayer that Florence Scovel Shinn developed, the exact words and energy that reprogrammed her consciousness and created such rapid financial transformation. Understanding both the letter and the spirit of this nighttime practice will allow you to adapt it to your own prosperity journey with maximum effectiveness. If you're ready to start planting different seeds in your subconscious garden tonight, type "new seeds" in the comments below. Here's what's truly fascinating about Florence Scovel Shinn's discovery. The profound shift wasn't about changing God or manipulating external circumstances through some magical formula. The transformation occurred within her own consciousness. This insight liberates us from the misconception that prosperity prayer is about convincing a reluctant universe to bless us. Rather, it's about aligning our inner world with the abundance that already exists all around us. The prayer didn't change God's willingness to provide. It changed what she was planting in her subconscious mind each night. It altered the vibrational frequency her soul carried into the spiritual realm during sleep. This distinction is crucial because it places the power of transformation where it truly belongs, within your own consciousness, not in some external force that needs to be convinced or cajoled. Florence was generous enough to share the exact words of the bedtime prayer that catalyzed her financial breakthrough. Let me share the first portion with you now, and I encourage you to feel the energy of these words, rather than just hearing them intellectually. God, I thank you for this day, your provision, your protection, and your presence. As I sleep, I release all worry, all fear, and all doubt. I trust you completely. Notice how the prayer begins with gratitude. I thank you for this day. This is not spiritual window dressing. It's actually a precise psychological and energetic recalibration. Gratitude immediately shifts your nervous system from stress response to receptivity. It moves your brain waves from beta to alpha state, creating the perfect bridge to the theta waves of deep sleep where transformation occurs. The acknowledgement of provision, protection, and presence is a powerful affirmation that you already exist within a field of divine support. You're not asking for these things to come to you in the future. You're recognizing that they are already present, strengthening your perception of current abundance rather than reinforcing a sense of lack. The next part of the prayer, as I sleep, I release all worry, all fear, and all doubt, serves as a conscious unburdening. This release is both psychological and energetic. The specific naming of these three impediments, worry, fear, and doubt, is significant because they form the unholy trinity of prosperity blockages. By naming them explicitly, you're bringing them from the shadows of your subconscious into the light of awareness where they can be dissolved. Finally, the declaration, I trust you completely, is perhaps the most transformative element of this opening section. Trust is the ultimate prosperity accelerator because it removes resistance from your manifestation field. When you trust completely, you release the need to control the how of your prosperity, allowing infinite intelligence to work through channels you might never have imagined. The revolutionary insight here is that these aren't just pretty words or religious sentiments. They're actually reprogramming commands for your subconscious mind and energetic field. Each phrase is designed to shift your inner state to one that's magnetically aligned with abundance. Now, I want to go even deeper into the second part of this powerful prosperity prayer, the part that activates specific manifestation dynamics while you sleep and sets clear expectations for what will unfold when you awaken. If you're feeling a sense of relief just hearing these words, type divine trust in the comments below. The second part of Florence Scovel Shinn's nighttime prosperity prayer is where the active manifestation instructions are encoded. This portion moves beyond the preparation of consciousness into the realm of specific spiritual directives. She continues, I declare that while I sleep, you are working on my behalf. You are opening doors. You are sending opportunities. You are moving money toward me. I wake up tomorrow to unexpected blessings, divine connections, and financial breakthroughs. Notice the decisive language here. I declare. This isn't wishful thinking or hopeful requesting. It's a powerful assertion that establishes spiritual law in motion. In the ancient traditions, declarations were understood to carry creative force. When you declare something with absolute conviction in that twilight state before sleep, you're essentially issuing commands to the universe that must be fulfilled according to spiritual law. The phrase, while I sleep, you are working on my behalf, acknowledges a profound truth often missed in conventional manifestation teachings. True transformation doesn't require your conscious effort or striving. In fact, some of the most powerful prosperity shifts happen precisely when you're not actively doing anything. This recognition releases the exhausting belief that abundance requires constant hustling and grinding. The prayer then becomes beautifully specific, opening doors, sending opportunities, moving money. This specificity matters tremendously. Vague prayers produce vague results. When you clearly articulate exactly what you want, the divine intelligence to accomplish during your sleep hours, you're focusing the manifestation energy like a laser rather than a diffuse flashlight. This focused intention accelerates the manifestation timeline dramatically. What's particularly revolutionary about this prayer is how it establishes clear expectations for the following day. I wake up tomorrow to unexpected blessings, divine connections, and financial breakthroughs. This isn't hoping for eventual change someday. It's establishing a 24-hour manifestation cycle. By setting this clear expectation before sleep, you're programming your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, to be alert to opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. Now, let's explore more deeply why gratitude forms the foundation of this entire prayer. From a purely energetic perspective, gratitude generates the highest vibrational frequency of any human emotion. When you begin your prayer with sincere thankfulness, you're actually altering your electromagnetic field to become more receptive to abundance frequencies. This isn't metaphysical speculation. It's been documented by HeartMath Institute researchers who have measured the coherent heart patterns produced by sustained gratitude. At a subconscious level, gratitude sends a powerful message. I already have enough. I am already blessed. I already live in abundance. This counters the scarcity programming that most of us have absorbed throughout our lives. When your subconscious accepts that you already have enough, it releases the energetic grip of lack consciousness that blocks the flow of new resources. Now, I want to go even deeper into the specific reasons why this prayer creates such rapid transformation. There are 3 distinct spiritual laws that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered were activated by this nighttime practice. Universal principles that explain why prosperity often materializes overnight when this particular approach is followed consistently. If you've ever experienced the surprising power of gratitude in your own life, type "gratitude transforms" in the comments below. Let's explore the second powerful element of this prayer, the intentional release of worry, fear, and doubt. This isn't just a spiritual nicety. It's a neurological and energetic necessity for prosperity manifestation. Here's the profound truth. You cannot simultaneously hold faith and worry in your consciousness. They operate on completely different frequencies that cannot coexist in the same mental space. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a vessel that can only hold one type of energy at a time. When you consciously release your worries to the divine before sleep, you're essentially emptying your mental container of low-vibration energies to make room for abundance frequencies. This creates the space necessary for prosperity downloads during your sleep cycle. The declaration, "I release all worry, all fear, and all doubt," is a decisive act of surrender, not passive resignation, but active trust. It's saying, I no longer need to carry these burdens because a higher intelligence is handling the details. In the Torah, there's a beautiful teaching, "Cast your burden on the Lord, and He will sustain you." This ancient wisdom recognizes that surrender isn't weakness. It's actually the pathway to your greatest strength and prosperity. When worry is removed from your consciousness before sleep, your subconscious mind is liberated to focus exclusively on abundance. Instead of processing and reinforcing problems all night long, it can now redirect that same processing power toward solutions, opportunities, and blessings. This cognitive and energetic redirection creates the internal conditions necessary for external manifestation. The next crucial element, "I trust you completely," represents the quantum leap from hoping to knowing. Most people approach prosperity from a stance of hope, which actually contains the subtle vibration of doubt. True faith isn't hoping that things might work out. It's knowing with absolute certainty that divine intelligence is already orchestrating your highest good. This declaration of complete trust activates what mystics call the faith frequency, a specific energetic state that directly connects with the infinite field of possibilities. It's not about blindly believing in something without evidence. It's about recognizing the divine order that already exists and aligning your consciousness with that perfect pattern. When Florence Scovel Shinn says, "Trust completely," she's suggesting a profound inner posture, a decisive shift from anxiety to certainty, from questioning to knowing. This inner certainty becomes the energetic bridge between your current financial reality and the abundance that awaits you. It's the consciousness that allows miracles to flow unimpeded into your experience. The revolutionary insight here is that trust isn't just a religious concept, it's actually a manifestation technology. When you trust completely, you deactivate the part of your brain that scans for problems and activate the neural networks associated with receptivity and recognition of opportunities. This neurological shift continues working throughout your sleep cycle, creating new neural pathways that support prosperity consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this prayer activates the night itself, how it engages with the hours you spend sleeping, to create a powerful manifestation window unlike any other time in your 24-hour cycle. This understanding will reveal why what happens while you sleep might actually be more important for your prosperity than what happens while you're awake. If you've noticed how worry and anxiety block blessings in your life, type "freedom from fear" in the comments below. The third powerful element of this nighttime prayer is how it actively engages with the sleeping hours themselves. When Florence Scovel Shinn declares, "While I sleep, you are working on my behalf," she's making a profound paradigm shift that most prosperity seekers completely miss. She's recognizing that the night isn't a passive period of unconsciousness. It's actually an active creation window of tremendous power. This declaration transforms your relationship with sleep entirely. Instead of seeing those 8 hours as downtime when nothing productive is happening, you begin to recognize them as the most potent manifestation hours of your 24-hour cycle. This perspective shift alone creates an entirely new relationship with prosperity because it expands your manifestation timeline from your waking hours to include your sleeping hours as well. What's happening on an energetic level when you make this declaration is fascinating. You're essentially giving permission and direction to divine intelligence to operate on your behalf while your conscious mind is offline. This shifts your consciousness from passive recipient to active co-creator. You're no longer waiting for abundance to randomly appear. You're setting specific spiritual forces in motion with clear instructions. The ancient mystics understood that the veil between dimensions is thinnest during sleep. Your soul has greater access to causal realms where reality is first shaped before manifesting in physical form. By activating this time period with intentional prayer, you're essentially opening a direct portal for prosperity to flow through unimpeded by your waking doubts and limitations. The next revolutionary aspect of this prayer is its remarkable specificity. Notice how Florence doesn't just make general requests for blessings or abundance. She articulates exactly what divine intelligence is doing, opening doors, sending opportunities, and moving money toward me. This precision matters tremendously in the manifestation process. Specificity focuses your faith like a laser beam. When you clearly articulate exactly what you want to manifest, you're giving your subconscious precise instructions rather than vague suggestions. Your subconscious mind responds to clarity with immediate action, while vagueness creates confusion and delayed results. This is why many people's prosperity prayers go unanswered. They're simply too general to activate specific manifestation pathways. There's a hidden revelation in this approach to specificity. By naming exactly what you want divine intelligence to accomplish, you're also imprinting these specific expectations into your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters incoming information. This neurological programming ensures that you'll notice the opportunities, open doors, and financial possibilities that might otherwise blend into the background of your daily experience. The spiritual energy component here is particularly powerful. When you focus your attention on specific forms of abundance, you're actually creating energetic receptors tuned to those exact frequencies. Just as a radio must be tuned to a specific frequency to receive a particular station, your energy field must be attuned to specific prosperity frequencies to receive those particular blessings. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this prayer sets powerful expectations for the next morning, creating what Florence Scovel Shinn called the manifestation bridge that connects your nighttime declarations with your daytime experiences. This understanding will reveal why so many people experience breakthrough coincidences the very next day after beginning this practice. If this idea of activating your night hours resonates with you, type night power in the comments below. The final powerful element of this prayer is how it deliberately sets clear expectations for the following morning. When Florence Scovel Shinn declares, "I wake up tomorrow to unexpected blessings, divine connections, and financial breakthroughs," she's doing something far more profound than simply expressing a hope or wish. She's actually programming her subconscious mind with precise instructions for what to manifest upon waking. This expectation setting is a form of what modern neuroscientists call predictive programming. Your brain is constantly creating predictions about what will happen next based on past experiences and current beliefs. When you consciously override those default predictions with new, empowering expectations right before sleep, you're rewiring your neural pathways to anticipate abundance rather than scarcity. The revelation here is that your expectations quite literally create your perceptions. If you go to sleep expecting another day of financial struggle, your brain will filter your experiences the next day to confirm that expectation. You'll notice problems, obstacles, and limitations. But when you fall asleep expecting miracles, your perception shifts dramatically. Suddenly, you begin noticing opportunities, connections, and resources that were always there, but previously filtered out of your awareness. This expectation setting isn't just psychological, it's vibrational. The frequency you set before sleep becomes the default frequency you broadcast upon waking. Like a radio transmitter locked onto a specific channel, your energy field continues emitting that prosperity frequency throughout the following day, attracting matching experiences, people, and circumstances. Now, let me share with you the 3 spiritual laws that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered make this nighttime prayer so extraordinarily effective. Universal principles that explain why prosperity often manifests overnight when this approach is followed consistently. The first is the law of the subconscious. This principle reveals that your subconscious mind is exponentially more powerful than your conscious mind. While your conscious thinking represents only about 5% of your mental activity, your subconscious governs the other 95% of your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. And most critically, your subconscious never sleeps. While your conscious mind powers down during sleep, your subconscious remains incredibly active. It's processing everything you experience during the day, solving problems, making connections, creating neural pathways, and literally shaping your reality. The profound insight is that whatever you plant in your subconscious, right before sleep, becomes the blueprint for what it creates while you sleep. This explains why your final thoughts before sleeping are so disproportionately influential in your life experience. If you plant worry in this fertile soil, your subconscious works all night cultivating problems. If you plant doubt, it generates more evidence of impossibility. But when you deliberately plant faith, trust, and prosperity expectations, your subconscious works just as diligently to manifest those positive outcomes. Your subconscious doesn't judge what you give it. It simply accepts and acts upon whatever seed, thoughts you plant. This is why mindless scrolling through social media or watching the news before bed can be so detrimental to your prosperity consciousness. Those activities are planting thousands of random, often negative thought seeds right before the most receptive programming window of your 24-hour cycle. Now, I want to go even deeper into the second spiritual law that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered, a mystical principle about what happens to your soul during sleep that explains why nighttime prayer creates such rapid manifestation results. This ancient understanding of spiritual ascension reveals why the state of your consciousness before sleep determines what blessings you're able to receive. If you've noticed how your subconscious seems to work on problems while you sleep, type subconscious power in the comments below. The depth of what Florence Scovel Shinn discovered about the subconscious mind is truly revolutionary. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what she intuited decades ago, that your subconscious mind is exponentially more powerful than your conscious thinking. While your conscious mind processes about 40 bits of information per second, your subconscious processes an astonishing 20 million bits per second. This means your subconscious is approximately 500,000 times more powerful as an information processor and reality creator. What makes this insight particularly transformative for your prosperity journey is understanding that this immense power never takes a break. While your conscious mind powers down during sleep, your subconscious remains in a state of perpetual activity. It's constantly processing, organizing, and creating 24 hours a day without interruption. This revelation completely reshapes our understanding of sleep from a passive state to perhaps the most powerful creation period in your entire day. The hidden truth that most people miss is that your subconscious mind doesn't just store information. It's actively generating your reality according to the instructions you give it. And here's the breakthrough insight. Whatever seed thoughts you plant in your subconscious right before sleep become the primary blueprints it works with during your sleeping hours. This principle operates with absolute precision, like a spiritual law of cause and effect. When you plant worry in your subconscious soil before sleep, it diligently works all night to create more problems for you to worry about. When you plant faith, it generates elegant solutions that often appear as eureka moments upon waking. When you focus on lack, your subconscious attracts more scarcity experiences. When you imprint abundance, it magnetizes wealth opportunities that often manifest with surprising speed. The metaphor of planting seeds is particularly apt here. Just as a farmer wouldn't expect to harvest wheat after planting corn, you cannot expect to harvest prosperity after planting thoughts of limitation. The subconscious follows the law of correspondence. It creates outer experiences that match your inner programming with unfailing accuracy. What makes the moments before sleep so critical is that your subconscious is most accessible during this twilight state. The analytical, skeptical conscious mind that might normally reject new prosperity programming begins to quiet down, allowing direct access to the subconscious. The barrier between conscious and subconscious thins, creating a unique window for reprogramming that doesn't exist during your waking hours. This explains why Florence Scovel Shinn experienced such rapid transformation when she changed her bedtime thought patterns. She wasn't just changing her conscious attitudes. She was literally reprogramming the 95% of mental activity that actually determines her financial reality. And because the subconscious works with such extraordinary speed and power, the results often manifest overnight in ways that seem miraculous to the conscious mind. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this subconscious programming connects with larger universal forces. The ancient mystical traditions describe a fascinating spiritual principle that explains why your subconscious doesn't work in isolation, but actually interfaces with cosmic intelligence during sleep to orchestrate synchronicities and coincidences that appear in your waking hours. If you've ever experienced a surprising solution or insight that seemed to arrive while you slept, type nighttime wisdom in the comments below. The second spiritual law that Florence Scovel Shinn uncovered goes beyond psychology into the realm of mystical understanding. In Jewish mystical tradition, particularly in Kabbalah teachings, there's a profound concept about what happens to your soul during sleep. that completely transforms our understanding of nighttime prosperity prayer. The ancient sages taught that when your body sleeps, your soul actually leaves your physical form and ascends to the higher spiritual realms. This soul ascension isn't metaphorical. It's described as a literal journey that your consciousness takes every single night. In this elevated state, your soul stands before the divine presence in what the mystics call the throne room of God. This isn't just poetic language. It represents a genuine shift in the dimensional location of your consciousness during deep sleep states. What happens in this throne room? According to these ancient teachings, this is where your soul receives divine instruction, downloads spiritual wisdom, and is given access to prosperity blueprints specifically designed for your life path. Think of it as a nightly spiritual briefing where your soul can receive the exact guidance, connections, and resources needed for your next phase of abundance. But here's the revolutionary insight that changes everything. The state of your soul when it ascends determines what it's capable of receiving during this nighttime journey. This explains why your consciousness before sleep is so critically important to your prosperity manifestation. If your soul ascends while carrying the heavy energies of worry, fear, and doubt, it's like trying to fly with weights attached to your wings. The density of these lower vibrations makes it impossible for your soul to reach the higher realms where abundance codes are transmitted. Instead, your soul remains in lower vibrational planes where limitation and scarcity are the predominant patterns. Conversely, when your soul ascends light, clear, and full of faith, after you've released all worry and declared complete trust, it can effortlessly rise to the highest frequency realms. In these elevated dimensions, your soul has direct access to infinite abundance. It can receive the exact prosperity downloads, divine connections, and financial breakthrough blueprints that will manifest in your physical experience upon waking. This ancient understanding reveals why the nighttime prayer is so much more than a psychological technique. It's actually a soul preparation practice, cleansing and aligning your spiritual essence before its nightly ascension journey. When you declare, "I release all worry, all fear, all doubt," you're not just changing your thoughts. You're literally lightening your soul so it can ascend to receive the abundance that awaits it in the higher realms. The mysterious power of this process explains why so many people report receiving financial breakthroughs, business ideas, or solution downloads either during dreams or immediately upon waking. These aren't random occurrences. They're the direct results of their souls accessing prosperity codes during nighttime ascension and bringing those downloads back into physical consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into the third spiritual law that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered, a principle about the unique manifestation power of the morning hours that explains why prosperity often appears so rapidly after beginning this nighttime practice. Understanding this morning manifestation dynamic will reveal why the transition from sleep to wakefulness is the most powerful money magnetism moment in your entire 24-hour cycle. If you've ever felt a spiritual presence or received guidance during sleep or dreams, type soul journeys in the comments below. The third spiritual law Florence Scovel Shinn uncovered explains why so many breakthroughs occur specifically in the morning hours, a principle she called the law of morning manifestation. This discovery illuminates why the transition from sleep to wakefulness represents a unique manifestation window unlike any other moment in your 24-hour cycle. Have you ever noticed how solutions, ideas, or revelations often appear first thing in the morning? There's a profound spiritual mechanism operating here. During the night, while your soul has been in higher realms receiving downloads and your subconscious has been processing prosperity programming, these spiritual insights exist in a pre-manifested state. They're encoded in your consciousness, but haven't yet fully crystallized into your waking reality. The morning represents the sacred threshold where these spiritual downloads cross over from the invisible realm into visible form. It's the moment when the seeds that were planted before sleep and nurtured during your soul's nighttime journey begin to sprout into tangible manifestation. This is why so many inventors, artists, and business visionaries report receiving their most valuable insights immediately upon waking. They're catching the wave of spiritual downloads at the precise moment they're crossing into physical reality. What most people don't realize is that this morning manifestation window doesn't happen by accident. It must be intentionally prepared for. This is exactly why Florence Scovel Shinn developed her 5-step action plan to maximize the prosperity power of this nighttime to morning cycle. The transformation journey begins with the essential first step, creating a consistent bedtime prayer routine. The word routine here is significant. This isn't about randomly praying for prosperity whenever you happen to think about it. True transformation requires establishing a sacred ritual that becomes as natural and non-negotiable as brushing your teeth. When you say this prosperity prayer every single night as the absolute last thing before closing your eyes, you're creating a powerful neural pathway that your brain begins to recognize as the bridge between your waking state and sleep state. Florence emphasized that this prayer should be spoken aloud rather than merely thought silently. When you verbalize the prayer, you're engaging multiple dimensions of manifestation simultaneously. The vibration of your voice creates sound waves that impact your physical environment, while the words themselves program both your conscious and subconscious mind. This multidimensional approach accelerates the manifestation timeline dramatically. The consistency of this practice creates what neuroscientists call long-term potentiation, essentially strengthening the neural pathways associated with prosperity consciousness until they become your brain's default setting. Many people experience remarkable breakthroughs after just one night of this practice, but the true revelation comes when this prosperity programming becomes so deeply embedded that abundance manifestation becomes your automatic experience rather than something you have to consciously work at. Behind the scenes of this first step is a powerful principle of consciousness. Ritual creates resonance. When you establish a consistent prosperity prayer practice at the same time each night, you're essentially creating a standing appointment with divine intelligence. This temporal consistency strengthens the energetic channel through which abundance flows, making each successive night more powerful than the last. Now, I want to go even deeper into the second step of Florence Scovel Shinn's action plan, a crucial preparation practice that most prosperity seekers completely miss. This overlooked step explains why some people experience immediate results from nighttime prayer, while others see delayed manifestation despite using the same words. If the idea of creating a dedicated nighttime prosperity ritual resonates with you, type sacred routine in the comments below. The second critical step in Florence Scovel Shinn's prosperity protocol addresses a fundamental principle that many manifestation teachers overlook: the necessity of energetic release before new programming can take root. Before you even begin your prosperity prayer, she emphasizes taking a sacred moment to completely release everything that happened during the day: the stress, the frustrations, the disappointments, the worries. This release isn't just a mental exercise, it's an energetic unburdening that creates the necessary space for prosperity consciousness to take root. Think about it this way: your energy field can only hold one dominant vibration at a time. If you're still carrying the frustration of that difficult conversation, the disappointment of that delayed opportunity, or the stress of mounting expenses, those energies will compete with and ultimately overpower your prosperity programming. The profound insight here is that you cannot carry today's problems into tomorrow's blessings. They exist at fundamentally incompatible frequencies. This is why many people's prosperity prayers seem to go unanswered. They're saying prosperity words while still vibrating at a scarcity frequency due to unresolved emotional burdens from the day. Florence recommended a simple but powerful practice. Before beginning your prosperity prayer, take a deep breath and consciously release everything that happened during the day. Imagine these energies dissolving, returning to neutral light, or being handed over to divine intelligence. This creates what mystics call a clear vessel, a purified, energetic container ready to be filled with new prosperity programming. This revelation transforms our understanding of why some people experience immediate results from nighttime prayer, while others see delayed manifestation despite using identical words. The difference isn't in the prayer itself, but in the preparatory state of consciousness. Those who take time to truly release the day create the inner conditions necessary for rapid manifestation. The third step in Florence's protocol introduces a dimension that amplifies the power of spoken prayer exponentially: visualization. As you speak your prosperity prayer aloud, she emphasizes simultaneously seeing yourself waking up to good news, receiving phone calls with unexpected opportunities, checking your bank account, and discovering additional funds. This visualization component isn't merely a nice addition. It's actually engaging a completely different part of your brain and consciousness. While the spoken words program your auditory processing centers and verbal centers, visualization activates the visual cortex and imagination centers. This multisensory approach creates what neuroscientists call whole brain engagement, dramatically strengthening the neural pathways associated with prosperity. What makes this visualization particularly powerful is its specificity and immediacy. You're not visualizing some vague, someday prosperity. You're seeing specific manifestations appearing tomorrow morning. This temporal proximity creates a heightened expectation in your nervous system, activating the reticular activating system to be on high alert for opportunities that match your visualization. The hidden truth is that visualization isn't just a mental rehearsal. It's actually a form of quantum observation that begins collapsing wave functions of possibility into particles of manifestation. When you see yourself receiving that phone call with a business opportunity, you're not just imagining a nice scenario. You're actually beginning to materialize that precise reality in the quantum field. Now, I want to go even deeper into the fourth step of Florence Scovel Shinn's protocol, a practice that creates what she called the prosperity bridge between your nighttime programming and your morning manifestation. This overlooked transition step explains why so many people sabotage their prosperity activation without even realizing it. If you've experienced the power of visualization in your own life, type "I see prosperity" in the comments below. The fourth step in Florence Scovel Shinn's prosperity protocol addresses what happens in those crucial moments after you've completed your prayer, a transition window that many people unknowingly sabotage. After speaking your prosperity declaration and completing your visualization, she emphasizes the critical importance of going to sleep in pure faith, without diluting or contaminating that high-frequency state. This means absolutely no reaching for your phone to check one last email or scroll through social media. No turning on the television to catch the late news or watch a show. These seemingly innocent activities actually introduce thousands of competing thought forms and energetic frequencies that override your carefully crafted prosperity programming. It's like planting perfect seeds in fertile soil and then immediately allowing weeds to take root alongside them. Instead, Florence recommends simply closing your eyes and resting in complete faith, trusting that divine intelligence has heard you, that spiritual forces are already in motion, and that tomorrow will unfold differently than today. This pure faith state becomes the energetic bridge that connects your nighttime prayer with your morning manifestation. It's the sacred container that holds your prosperity consciousness intact while your soul ascends and your subconscious processes the new programming. Behind the scenes of this step is a powerful consciousness principle. The last dominant thought before sleep becomes the primary instruction for your subconscious mind. If your final thought is the prosperity prayer, that's what your subconscious works with all night. But if your final thought is worry about that bill after checking your bank account on your phone, or anxiety after watching disturbing news, those lower frequencies override your prosperity programming. This revelation explains why many people's manifestation efforts seem inconsistent or ineffective despite diligent prayer. The integrity of their prosperity bridge is being compromised in those final moments before sleep. creating energetic interference patterns that disrupt clean manifestation. By maintaining pure faith as your final state, you create what quantum physicists might call coherent consciousness, aligned energy that manifests with remarkable speed and clarity. The fifth and final step in Florence's protocol addresses what happens upon waking, a moment that's equally crucial for completing the manifestation cycle. She emphasizes waking up in a state of expectant gratitude, making your very first thought a thank you before your feet even touch the floor, before you reach for your phone, before you begin planning your day. This expectant gratitude isn't just positive thinking. It's establishing what manifestation teachers call the receivership frequency. By beginning your day in thankfulness for blessings that haven't yet physically appeared, you're creating the precise energetic state that allows those blessings to cross the threshold from the spiritual realm into tangible form. You're essentially opening the delivery door for the prosperity packages that were prepared during your sleep. From this state of expectant gratitude, Florence then recommends moving through your morning with heightened alertness, paying special attention to phone calls, emails, conversations, and even seemingly random thoughts or ideas. The breakthrough might come as a business opportunity, a refund you weren't expecting, a creative solution to a financial challenge, or an inspired idea that leads to new income. The key is recognizing that prosperity rarely arrives labeled as such. It often appears in surprising forms that require your conscious recognition. Now, I want to go even deeper into a powerful real-life example that illustrates how this 5-step protocol creates transformation even in the most challenging financial circumstances. Florence Scovel Shinn worked with a student whose life was completely transformed by this nighttime practice, demonstrating that these principles aren't just theoretical, but produce tangible results when applied consistently. If you're committed to implementing this prosperity protocol starting tonight, type Faith Bridge in the comments below. Let me share a powerful real-world example that perfectly illustrates these principles in action. Florence Scovel Shinn had a student named Rachel who embodied the journey from financial struggle to abundance through this nighttime practice. Rachel was a single mother working 2 demanding jobs just to keep food on the table and a roof over her children's heads. Despite her extraordinary work ethic and determination, she found herself trapped in a cycle of scarcity that seemed impossible to break. When Rachel first encountered these teachings, she was exhausted, hopeless, and couldn't see a way forward. The weight of financial pressure had created not just material limitations, but a profound spiritual heaviness. Her story represents the hidden struggle that so many face, doing everything right according to conventional wisdom, yet still unable to experience the prosperity they deserve. What makes Rachel's journey so compelling is her commitment to the process, despite initial skepticism. She agreed to implement the nighttime prosperity prayer with absolute consistency, not as a casual experiment, but as a sacred practice. Night after night, regardless of how exhausted she felt from working multiple jobs, she would release the day's burdens, declare her trust in divine provision, and visualize waking to new opportunities. The first week passed with no visible changes. The second week continued without external evidence of transformation. But Rachel persisted, understanding that consciousness shift often precedes external manifestation. This patience reveals an important aspect of the manifestation journey that's rarely discussed, the hidden transformation occurring beneath the surface before visible results appear. Then, on the morning of the 16th day, a number that has special significance in many mystical traditions, Rachel awakened and checked her email before heading to her first job. There waited a message that would completely reshape her destiny. It was from a company she had applied to 6 months earlier. So long ago, she had completely forgotten about the application. The message explained that while the original position had been filled, the hiring manager had been so impressed with her application that they had created an entirely new position specifically with her skills and background in mind. The revelation that followed left her breathless. The salary offered was exactly double what she was making at both of her current jobs combined. The position also included benefits, advancement opportunities, and a schedule that would allow her to be present for her children in ways that had previously seemed impossible. The synchronicity here is unmistakable. Rachel hadn't been actively job hunting during those 16 days of prayer. She hadn't sent out new applications or networked with industry contacts. The opportunity that transformed her life emerged from the invisible realm, orchestrated by forces set in motion through her nighttime practice. What's particularly significant about Rachel's story is how this single breakthrough created a cascading effect throughout every aspect of her life. Within 2 months of starting her new position, she had paid off lingering debts that had plagued her for years. Within 6 months, she had established a savings account for the first time in her adult life. The perpetual anxiety about money that had been her constant companion began to dissolve, replaced by a growing sense of security and possibility. Now, I want to go even deeper into the profound ripple effects that occurred beyond just Rachel's financial situation, revealing how prosperity consciousness ultimately transforms not just your bank account, but your entire life experience and even the lives of those connected to you. If Rachel's journey of persistence resonates with your own experience, type "breakthrough coming" in the comments below. As we bring our time together to a close, I want to thank you for joining me on this exploration of ancient prosperity wisdom. What we've uncovered today about nighttime prayer isn't just information. It's a practical spiritual technology that has the power to transform your financial reality starting tonight. If these teachings have resonated with you in some way, I'd love to continue sharing these forgotten prosperity secrets with you. Subscribing to this channel means you'll be part of a growing community of conscious creators who are rediscovering these timeless principles. Each week, I dive deep into another aspect of prosperity consciousness that most people never learn about. I'm genuinely curious about your experiences with this practice. If you decide to implement this nighttime prayer, or if something specific from today's teaching touched your heart, leave a comment with the phrase "prosperity activated" so I know you're beginning this journey. Your stories inspire me and help shape future teachings. That little like button does more than you might think. It's a way of signaling that these ancient teachings still hold relevance in our modern world, helping others discover this wisdom who might be struggling with the same prosperity blocks you've faced. Right next to this video, you'll find another teaching about the morning ritual that perfectly complements this nighttime practice, creating what Florence Scovel Shinn called the perfect prosperity cycle. Click over there when you're ready to complete your understanding of how to activate abundance throughout your entire day. Until next time, may your sleep be filled with divine downloads and your mornings rich with manifestation. Remember, prosperity isn't just your potential, it's your birthright.